From Beijing's top tourist attraction, the Palace Museum, also known as the Forbidden City. Starting from January 1st, 2014, the museum will be closed on Mondays except for legal holidays and next summer from July 1st to August 31st. According to
When we face adversity, we find a way through it. It's about taking care of each other. It's the small parts that make a big difference.
Hey, Haley. Good morning and welcome. Morning, Haley. Morning, Ashley. Morning, Kyle. Trying something. Oh, good. After 8,000 commercials, it's finally okay. Right? At least it should be. Okay, I'm super low. Let's bring that up. There we go. Now we're looking better. Now we're hitting some levels. Good morning, Joe, Nick, and Jess. Ugh. All right, let's bounce over here. Oh, my other light. There we go. Okay. Allie's here. Hello, good morning. That's going to expire soon? No, thank you. See you. Vinny, good morning and welcome. Only 9 of us. Greetings and salutations. This is the always bright and chipper Harrison Walsh. Good morning. Let's just do this real quick. Jeez. Where is everybody? They need to wake themselves up, and I need to fix my headroom as much as possible, at least. Or just sit back. How's everyone doing today? Everyone's that good, huh? Oh my God, so tired. I was up till midnight last night trying to research and figure out some audio video things for us. I know midnight might not be too late for you gang, but for us old folks, it was bad. I just couldn't stop. I felt like I was right on the cusp the whole time. So I just needed to keep going. And we're going to have some roadblocks, but I think we can get around that. $2 a.m. Why so late? Or early? No, late. Early morning, but why so late? Vinny, I feel like you're hard to shake. I feel like you'd have to have a really rough morning to even show the slightest signs. Oh, I don't like that button there. Oh, dear. Oh, my God. Stop it. Joey, good morning. All right, we'll wait like another 30 seconds and hopefully some more folks will join us. I want to talk about the results of our Rocket News at Home edition prep survey. Go over those with you, highlight some stuff, see if we can chat with some people. I think the best thing we can do. Good morning, Grace. Hi. Pardon me. Is to try and press on creating some content as much as possible between now and next week so that we can load up for a show. I think a good course of action might be to do a show once a week. Like, I think that might be reasonable. It's how that show comes together is going to be the logistical challenge. So, as we're waiting for hopefully the rest of our class to show, I did some tests yesterday with a ton of equipment, which is why my desk is littered with equipment. I've got my soundboard out. I've got my preamp out. I've been tinkering with both. I've been like every cable adapter you can think of in the sun I have for audio, and I'm getting some. There are some issues in essentially using my computer as the hub for both all the inputs and all the outputs, and so they're conflicting with each other a little bit, and that's causing some problems. So just to give you an example, my microphone is going in through my soundboard and then over USB out the soundboard into my computer. My computer was set to do audio out through the headphone jack into the soundboard, but then back into the computer, and it's that loop that's causing some issues. So where that poses a problem for us broadcasting wise is that I had some other teachers join me in a Google Meet yesterday in an effort to try and get their audio from my computer controllable to the board back into my computer so I can feed it into, and I'll just show you what it looks like here, my broadcasting software. So like I can show you what like my inputs and outputs are, right? So like here's my desktop, my webcam, my class over graphic, my class start graphic. I loaded this video. This video is on my computer. And then I had it as a Google Hangout. I figured out that I can put in URLs and links to stuff. So if I wanted to put in, say, this live stream from CNN, which is if you joined us at the start of the hour, this is what was playing. I can punch that up as well. And so I was trying to figure out a way to get the audio from a Google Hangout or Meet into this software so I can punch it up and control the levels of that audio from my soundboard. And so it was proving to be a little challenging because Dave Morgan, good morning, hello. It wasn't, well, it just wasn't working the right way. And I had told you I'd reached out to my old high school teacher. Believe it or not, he was the gentleman that did their morning show live on the 20th. We put the link up in our classroom the other day. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. And again, if you haven't, just take a look at the first like 2-3 minutes. It'll give you an idea of what they did. They basically fed a Google Hangout like live, and they were able to go to different people live. I had very little success with that yesterday because, well, Google Hangout or Meet has not been that stable for me. I tried it with one person, I tried it with 4 people, and it was a disaster. So I know you guys have been using a combination of Hangout, Meet, or Zoom. Have you guys had success with having multiple people in one of those video conferences simultaneously and not have there be tremendous lag, substantial overlapping, or just poor quality? I'm curious. I would love to hear what your experience has been with those services. So let me know in the chat. I'm going to pause for a sec. Oh, head is pounding. Sorry for the really long diatribe as well about all that tech setup. Sometimes it's helpful for me to talk it out. None of my teachers even tried it. Interesting. Okay. Wow. That surprises me because I just see so many teachers bragging about, like, I'm going to say that politely. No, they're bragging about using it on like Twitter and stuff, which I think is great. Okay. Just maybe luck of the draw. One did, and it kept freezing, so I left. Right. Which would be my fear for the show if we're trying to get people to watch. I think there's something to be said about coming out of the gate strong, because if we can do a first episode well, I think regardless of content, let's focus on making sure we're hitting the tech aspects. Then we'll bring people back the second time. If it's a disaster the first time out, I think we're in trouble getting people to come back and check out a second episode. Zoom has been the best option for me. Zoom worked best on my computer, and Google Meet only worked on my phone. I couldn't log on my Chromebook. Okay. So maybe I'll test Zoom today. I was helping some teachers set it up. God, last Sunday. It feels like forever ago. So I have it on my computer. I'll give that a shot this afternoon. I know our plan as a class on Friday is to tech test some things. So maybe what we'll do is, instead of a YouTube link, or hell, maybe I'll do both, just so I can test a few things on my end. I'll put a YouTube link and a Zoom link. Is there a way to plug our Chromebooks into our internet routers? I don't know if they have a network port on them, Harrison, and I know everyone has one of 2 Chromebooks. You might need to have like a USB to Ethernet cable adapter, in which case, yes, you'd be able to plug directly into your wireless router. That would help a little bit. I mean, I sit 6 feet from mine, and the reason why I chose YouTube was because it's a little bit more consistent. I know it's a little bit less interactive in that, like, you guys are on the chat and there's a delay between what I say and what you guys type. But it's been the most stable. It's also archived, so we can always go back to it later if need be. All right, so I'm going to jot down on my notes. And that's the other thing, folks. I don't know if you've come across this problem. And as a teacher, it's probably a crime. I don't have any loose leaf paper or notepads in the house. Like, I've got one pad from my chiropractor, and I'm running out of little Post-its here. But I started to take some notes on the survey that you guys did. And just to give you a quick glance, for those of you that did that, I really appreciate that. If we didn't, feedback there would be crucial. I'm going to spend some time after our class today entering grades for the surveys and for this one as well. I didn't want to linger and let those go too long, but I know I've been a little behind in your class because my TV 1 classes are kicking my butt right now in work and getting set up and developing stuff. So I apologize that those grades aren't in. Excuse me. So I jotted down a few things that I thought were key that I think we can discuss now. And I know you probably can't see this screen very well because the font's really small. But just to give you an idea of what the general consensus was on a few things, it seemed like a lot of people, most people thought that we should have a little bit of everybody as an anchor on the show. And I think that's a really great idea. That would be the preferred way to go about it. I think the tech issue there logistically is that we need a reliable video conferencing service to work before I can have faith in being able to bounce from one person to the other. Now, you guys have been saying Zoom has been the most consistently well-working software. Does that give you the ability, and pardon my my ignorance on it, does that give you the ability to allow other people to take command of that chat, or is it strictly led by one person? I think the benefit in Google Meet was that I can click over to someone else's camera so that they can do a report or do a segment live, and that was the benefit there. So I believe that's what they used in that one high school morning show I saw. So hopefully when I talk to him, I'll have a better idea of how that's going to work, how that end's going to work. I mean, hell, we can try all three. So I don't know if Zoom allows you to do that. If someone would let me know, I would very much appreciate that. As I now have 13 texts from other teachers. All right, Grace thinks so. Harrison says no. Ashley says I think so. So that would be the gamut in possibilities. Okay, I'm going to add down for myself. That's that thing. Test Zoom features. On Zoom, if you're host, you can mute people, then unmute certain people and pull them up. I'm with you, Dave. Trust me. Haley, I know you can mute them, like their microphones and their webcams, but what I'm curious is, can I allow them to go full screen? If I wanted to do a full screen broadcast of our Zoom meeting, can I start on my webcam and then say, okay, we're going to go live to Vinny, who's got some sports updates, and then click, and then boom, Vinny's full frame, he's live, and now he can do his thing before we go on to someone else. That's what I'm curious about. Okay, so Zoom will test as well. Okay, I'm gonna test that this afternoon on a small scale before we launch into what will be our full-scale test as a class on Friday. And the reason why I don't want to transition and get into that right now, Vinny, and I appreciate your eagerness, is that I want to just let's look at our schedule for a second. So we'll meet again on Friday and do our tech test, and we've got Tuesday and Thursday. And I think if we can leave together on Friday with an understanding of how this is going to come together, all right, and I'm going to do some research, and I've got the weekend to try and chip away at some things as well. That gives us an opportunity between today and next Thursday to shift some focus and start working on content. There are some ideas that came up that I really liked, and I jotted a few of them down because a lot of people also put that they thought a like slice of life quarantine style would be a segment idea. And I think we're all living that life. So I think that might be something that we would want to avoid because you sitting around your house is probably not drastically different than me sitting around my house. And so I jotted down a few things. Sports came up with around the horn style stuff, which I think would be great. At home exercises was one that came up. There were two cooking ideas that came up, and I apologize, I didn't ask anyone to put their names in here. But obviously, cooking with Liam, I'm guessing came from Liam. But that could be a really cool thing, like quick meals that you can do around the house with stuff that you have on hand. Virtual trivia questions or a quarantine quiz. I think is also a really good idea because it's engaging, it's entertaining. There's a little competitive side there, so I think that's a really strong segment. Someone jotted down a media segment, but I'm not sure what they meant by that specifically. Someone else had jotted down. Oh my God, entertainment industry impact. But I think we can use that as a launching pad to maybe get into some entertainment. I don't want to say news per se, but like I think it'd be a good idea to hit on like TV show reviews, movie reviews. What should I Netflix recommendations, things like that. Like I think could be a cool, simple thing to shoot and produce. I would love someone came up with highlighting teachers and students. I think that could be a really cool thing too. And that there's sources there. So if we want to highlight a teacher that's doing something virtually, as you mentioned in your pitch, pull stuff from their Twitter. The obstacle that we have is just trying to figure out how some of this stuff is going to get produced. You can do things live, like at-home exercises. You can do as a 30 to 60 second like selfie-style video, or set up your webcam or phone. Lean it against the wall and just walk us through some stretches. How to do different types of push-ups, like stuff like that. I think could be done very simply and doesn't necessarily need to be done live. And so having a pre-produced segment like, hey, Mr. Leonard, here's my 60 seconds for our show this week, uploaded the drive, shared on Classroom or turned in on Classroom, boom. That would be awesome. Because as someone put in their comments at the end, we need more than people just talking. Otherwise, this is not going to be a little bit less interesting. And so, if you have the ability to do some shooting and editing at home, I would say your class needs you. Hopefully you can rise to the occasion and just do short little segments. So like I know not to single people out or throw more burden on you. But I know, Joey and Alexa have their own computers and editing software. Doing a 60-second video shoot or sequence to put together might not take up too much of your time, which is why I wanted to get into some of these segment ideas today so that we can head into next week with the content locked and loaded, and then shift that over to, okay, how is this going to look for our show? I'm just getting back to the chat here. Yeah, I don't have any updates on when we're going to be back. Sadly, gang, I don't feel optimistic about next week. And I think at that point, it's they're going to say, okay, hey, let's ride this out till spring break and we'll reassess. So my guess would be that we're going to move through the next week and a half, and then we hit spring break on that Friday, where it will be a legitimate spring break. I don't think we can go anywhere, but there won't be any work, or there shouldn't be. And then we'll see where we are after that. That again, that's just my guess. So let me ask this question to the chat, and I want to pause for a sec because I've been talking a whole bunch, and I appreciate you guys sticking with us. If we were to say starting today that we want to get segments like written, shot, edited, and turned in, and whatever capacity you can do of that. If you can't edit, maybe we can do a 60-second one-camera shoot. That's fine. Do we think that it is feasible to take an idea, map it out, shoot it, edit, turn in by the start of class on Tuesday, or would that be too short of a turnaround time? I understand that does include the weekend, which arguably should be a little bit of decompression and rest and family time and things like that. So I'm not going to say, oh my God, grind over the weekend, but do we think that it's feasible to say as an assignment, if we were to then say today, we're going to start today, it's due Tuesday, to get some sort of short video segment in? I'm going to pause and go get more coffee. I'll check the chat when I'm back. Okay, sorry. The one thing that I've had an issue with in being home is that I drink coffee longer throughout the day, and so now I'm starting to get really bad headaches if I don't have a whole bunch of it. Haley, I asked if it was possible if we can start to move forward on some of these segment ideas to have completed by class on Tuesday. Everyone's saying yes, so yes. Haley just agreed in not knowing what she agreed to. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is after our session ends today, I'll type up like a short little manifesto to put on Classroom, Google Classroom as an assignment that's going to kind of outline just some of the few expectations as to what that segment can be. I would say try and be conscious of the time sensitivity as much as possible, but it's not going to be a steadfast rule because I don't want us to feel like, you know, we need to make stuff the day before just so it's time relative. So I will do that. Okay. That's awesome. And you guys are fantastic for stepping up to do that. If we're having issues because, well, I didn't make a segment all year, I've been in the control room, what should I do? Reach out to me. Let's continue that conversation so we can help develop some things. Short and simple are going to be the name of the game here on out. And if we have everyone do 30 seconds, think about that for a second. There's 24 of you and myself. If we all did 30 seconds, then we've got a 12-minute show on top of, interludes and intros and things like that. And that's not to say that we need to air them all on day one. Most people on the survey said 7 to 10 minutes was the sweet spot for the show. And I agree with you. I think anything longer than that, we risk burning ourselves out and trying to produce that much stuff. So I think that's okay. And if we go a little over, perfect. And if we're a little under the first time out, also okay. As far as the anchors go, all right, the contingency for not being able to do this live is that we're going to do it pre-recorded. And if it's pre-recorded, we would need some semblance. We're going to need some semblance of a script anyway. But if it's pre-recorded, we can kind of pass around, okay, you're going to be on anchor duty today, and here are the segments that are going to go in, and you can talk about some things. And I again, we're flying by the seat of our pants here. So, Harrison, we can't do 24/7 coverage, okay? Because you have other classes, and I have other classes, and you have other work, and I have other work. So unless you want the webcam on the wall for most of those 24 hours. I think 7 to 10 is a safe bet to do every week, and we'll grow. Let's aim for that for week 1, and then we'll see where we go from there. How do we know what everyone's doing so we don't make similar stuff? Haley, that's a great question. I think maybe, what do you guys think? Like, my initial thought would be, let's create like a Google Doc and do some sort of like sign up for stuff. Put your name down. This is my segment. This is what I'm doing, and that could at least allow people to call dibs on certain things. And if there's some overlap, like, I'm okay with that. Like I said, if 2 people want to do a cooking segment, then we can air one week and air another one the next week, and then it allows those people to like have time to come up with stuff. Because I think at most, from a production standpoint, we're looking at, if everyone can make 1 segment a week, that would be huge. It's okay. Now we have all these pieces, right? The segment are our pieces, and we know we have the talent to be on camera and read and perform. How are those pieces going to come together? What's the connective tissue if we don't have like typical school announcements to make? And I think that's where we need to kind of fill in some gaps. So I don't know if there's a collective of people that are in the chat now, because we've lost 1 or 2, that would be up for kind of working collectively, even if it's 2-3 people, working collectively on a script for the show that we can then give out to people. If it's okay, Kyle is going to be our host for the day, and he's going to have his script on his computer screen, and he's just going to webcam and capture and record that, and then upload that to Drive. Like I said, the contingency is, if this is not live, I can do some light editing. That's not a huge thing, because it's pretty basic and pretty simple. And then I can stream the episode live, and I would think no one would know the difference, but it's obviously not going to be interactive or anything like that. So Vinny, I agree with you. I think that's a really good idea. It's going to take a lot of coordination, though. So we would definitely, at that point, need someone to manage that script. And I don't want to volunteer anybody. But if we look at our positions in the classroom, I would look to Morgan and Haley as the 2 that could go, okay, let's be the point of contact for, okay, this segment's done, now we know, and this is going to be the order of the script. Not to volunteer you or throw that on you, but as the student producers, that would be my logical go-to. If you beg to differ, by all means. Morgan, awesome. And so, like I said, if 2 or 3 people want to get on that, then yeah, that can be a doc that is kind of managed by 2 or 3 people, but shared with the class. And it would be a matter of, okay, what's everyone working on? And we can do a section for, we're working on this. And at the end of our segment, we're going to bounce it to, well, we don't know yet. That's the part where it gets a little complicated. And that's also why I think it would be okay to not do that, Vinny, but have an anchor in between. And so, if Harrison was our anchor for that show, then he can come on and say, welcome to Rocket News, At Home Edition, or whatever we decide to call this thing. We have some time to mull it over. Hope everyone's doing well, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go to the 3 sports guys, and then we will play, all right, your segment, and then we'll come from that segment back to our anchor, and they can have a quick whip. Hey, that was great, guys. Thank you. Now we're going to take you to Liam, and he's going to show you some quick snacks around the house. Boom, and we go to Liam. Like, we can have that anchor be that gel that makes it a little bit more fluid and gives that structure if we can't do it from segment to segment, because that just logistically could be a huge headache. And Haley, you hit the nail on the head, Morgan. Double agree. Yeah, it is not your job to chase people down. Let that be my job. All right. If everyone's contributing this in a meaningful way, all right, I can shift back to my grading structure as far as participation and as far as the quality of your segment and coming in on a timely matter. So if people are assigned certain things and they're not doing them, you don't need to hunt them down. I will reach out to them. If they choose to ignore me, then that's going to be impacted, obviously, in our product, but also in their grade as well. So yeah, I do not want you guys to have the headache to have to check in with every single group every single day, because I think you're going to be going nuts. I think we need to trust ourselves to say, okay, if segments are due Tuesday, then I am anticipating a 3 Sports Guys segment on Tuesday. It's going in the script, and that should be the end of it. All right, because if they've committed to doing that, then the expectation is that they will get it in. And I know that does put a little bit more responsibility on everybody, but again, this is a product that as a class I think we're proud of, and clearly your guys' desire to stay involved with it even from home under these really weird circumstances is heartwarming. It really is. And so I think we're going to have to put faith that people are going to get stuff done, at least early on, until we can start to find a rhythm or pattern to how this gets done, and we'll shake out the kinks as we move along. Harrison, yeah, bring it back. I don't know if you have any editing capabilities at home. I'm going to reach out to our technology administrator, Mr. Emerson, in regards to some Chromebook video editors that I'm going to look into getting pushed out to everyone. And I think it's super basic, but if we can do very basic timeline editing with, hey, I shot 10 clips on my phone and I can drag them to a timeline and trim and put in order, I think even that as a basic editor would be substantial in allowing us to do more things and do more creative things. Oh, that pen's quarantined, Ashley. I'm so sorry. That pen is burned. It's melted. They got rid of it. Okay, I'm getting excited about this. I got to check on my computer and make sure I've got all my assets here. I think the morning show intro is on my old computer, or my home computer, because I made it there. And who knows? If I get bored, maybe I'll make a segment, because yesterday was a slower day, and I was able to get some at-home video production stuff done, and outside of wrestle with this headache in front of me. Harrison, cool. If you have a home computer, like I said, people can reach out to me. Supposedly we do have the ability to download Premiere at home, and you can log in with your school account. I need to get a little bit more clarification on that, but if that's something you want to try, go for it. I would just say Premiere is a pretty beefy software, so you need a pretty beefy computer in order to run that well. In addition to a means to get footage from one device to another. So like shooting stuff on your phone, I've been airdropping to my computer, but I have a Mac. If you have a PC at home, from my phone, upload the drive, log in the drive, download from drive. And it's a process. I can't just plug and go or take out an SD card. So if there's stuff you're shooting on your phone, it could be a little, I don't want to say problematic, but the process is a little bit longer. You can go to the school. I don't think you're getting in. There's a weird buzz coming from something. Okay. I'm feeling good about this. Here's what I think we should do, unless anyone has suggestions for the remainder of our time this morning. Haley and Morgan, start that. I want to say start that doc with a script, but maybe I will generate something and share it with you. That's the idea, Vinny. Yes. With the exception of the handful of people that are going to work on the script, which for right now is just going to be Morgan and Haley, which thank you both, by the way. So we're going to have a surplus of segments, which is great. And the anchor situation and the tech live, are we doing this live, is going to be kind of figured out hopefully between now and next week. Like I said, the contingency is you guys shoot a segment, turn it in. I can punch things up live. So that's always an option if we can't do a traditional, like, we're going to live to Vinny right now. Like now. He's at home doing this as you're watching it. We can kind of, I don't want to say fudge it, but bend a little bit there. Haley, that's a good idea. All right, so Ashley, you're going to jump on helping with the script and such as well. All right, so maybe what we'll do, and that doc I'll share out with everyone, is it's going to be very simple to start. And then just know that it's going to morph and grow as we do, and as Haley and Morgan are going, all right, this is great, but more, I'm getting a lot of this kind of information, and we need to add that to the doc. We'll add that to the doc. I don't know what beef Vinny and Ashley have, but it's palpable. I think adding to that document to start, a specific, like, tangible thing that you were going to make, create, and turn in, we need to have in there, all right? As well as some of the key things you want noted for the lead-in your script. So if you're just like, 3 sports guys, we're working on sports, that might not be specific enough. I saw it earlier in the chat, like Jordan versus LeBron. Okay, but like 3 sports guys, we're working on a video segment, a debate on who is the better basketball player, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. That gives our script writers a little bit more to go with as far as how are we going to introduce that segment. Ashley stepping it up. Love it. Their feud is iconic? Okay. Family Feud. That would be a cool thing to do, too. Ooh. Sorry, I'm thinking how we can make Family Feud work. Maybe Twitter polls? I don't know. Okay, sorry. Getting ahead of myself here. All right, so leaving here today, knowing that on Friday we're going to probably have links into a YouTube stream, a Zoom classroom, and a Google Meet. I'll try and hey, check in YouTube, and then we're going to bounce into Google Meet, and then we're going to bounce, I'll try and give some direction there so it's not just, here's 3 links and people are going different places. I'm hoping I'll have more insight as to how we can make that work once I talk to my mentor and colleague, which I'm very excited to speak with him again. It's been a long time. Yeah, Harrison, you had mentioned that last time, some economic stuff. Oh my God, Jess, yes, please horizontal if at all possible. I mean, we can always like fudge, stretch, or like do some sort of pseudo background on a vertical video, but horizontal always looks tremendously better. It's my personal opinion, but it's a pretty established shared opinion. Um, okay. So Friday tech test, and guys, that's going to be a disaster. I'm just letting you know. It's going to be a constructive disaster and it's going to help with troubleshooting, but it's going to be all of us in one place chatting live while I'm figuring out some things and how they pump into my OBS system as well as some of the hardware that I have here. So anticipate a lot of me checking the mic, asking you guys to talk, all this kind of stuff, and seeing if it works the way it's meant to work. So we'll see. That's going to be interesting. But we'll say formally from this point, and I'll put a small little criteria list in Google Classroom as an assignment, segments to produce. Now, we'll start week 1 with these being produced ahead of time until we can figure out, oh, okay, hey, 3 Sports Guys are going live today. So that just means that, during our showtime, we'll start our broadcast at 9 o'clock, and you guys just need to be in that virtual stage at that time. So when we go to you, you're ready to go, stuff like that. But we'll start with maybe some pre-recorded stuff until we start to figure some other things out, as well as the anchoring. But if we have a script, then it would be really easy to say, okay, hey, the script this week is going to go to Harrison. He's our anchor, and he can record basically everything, and then we'll do some behind the scenes post to patch in the other stuff. I would love to do it live. That's the goal. That's what I'm aiming for. But we're going to work within our means. So let's break on today. All right. Just check in with Classroom, our Classroom, our group periodically. The stream for either quick announcements or links. The assignment post is going to be up as a place for you to turn in finished completed segments, and just let's keep this energy going, because I would really love to start the transition back into knowing that Thursday, Friday we're going to have a show, and then that gives us focus and direction earlier in the week to game plan for that, to map that out, but then also the stuff that you guys are going to be doing at home. I know it's a little bit different, but it's different in a good way. I mean, it's work for class, but it's also a little bit different than maybe what you're being asked of in other classes. So, as you guys fight about sports in the chat, of course. All right. Let's conclude for today. I'll see everybody on Friday. Check Classroom for those posts. Haley and Morgan and Ashley, if you're checking in, just kind of anticipate a slow start to that script coming together. If we can get everyone to outline what they're going to make, that's a great place to start, but know that you're going to have to sculpt a little bit, or know that more info will come as we move closer to the air date of our show. So I'll hang back if there are any questions. As I know, we talked about a lot of stuff. I don't think I've talked this much in this class since the first day of September when we were in school. So thank you guys for bearing with my voice the whole time and my face the whole time. So if you want to trickle out, take a small break before your next class starts. But if you have questions, concerns, comments, leave them in the chat. I'll hang for a bit. And we'll see you guys for our tech test on Friday. Check Classroom. All right, see you later. I'm done.